Hey! In today's video, I will be talking about the things I like and dislike about Poland, the things that I have learned throughout all the years of my living here, because as you may know or may not know, I am a Polish person. I was born in Poland, I live in Poland, and I guess I can give an honest opinion about this country. I will not be getting into the more political part of my opinion, I suppose, because politics is something I never want to talk about on the internet. I will just share with you what I have found out, what I learned, and what my opinion is on different parts of Poland, I guess. So maybe we will start with the positive side, with the things that I like about Poland. And there is actually a few things that I like. The first thing being the landscape, because in Poland we have everything. We have the sea, we have the beach, we have mountains, we have forests, we have like everything you could ever ask for. For example, I love the beach and I love the sea, so I am lucky enough to actually live very close to one. So anytime I want to go to the beach, I can just get into the car and go. When it comes to nature, we have everything. Anything you want to see, anything you wish to see, anything you like to see from nature, you can come to Poland and you have everything pretty much. So that's the thing I just love about this country. The second thing on my list of the things that I like is the transportation, because compared to the other countries that I visited, I haven't visited many, but I visited a few, and I can honestly say that Poland has one of the best public transportation, because even in smaller towns, there's buses, there's trains, there's trams, there's good ways to get around the city very fast, at least from my experience, and I come from a small town. Obviously there was like some situations in which I was angry at the train being late or something, but I believe that's natural, that's the most normal thing ever to happen. But in general, I would say that Poland has a very good public communication. So yeah, I think that's another point that I really like about Poland, is the public transportation, the buses, the trains, the trams, everything like that. I think that's very well organized, but that's just my opinion. I heard that people have different opinion on that, but yeah. The third thing that I really like about Poland is the fact that in general we have cheap or completely free education. So for example, well, obviously if you want to go to a private school you have to pay. The same with university, if you want to go to a private university you have to pay. But in general there is an option for you to just finish your education completely for free. And I am not talking about like course books and stuff like that, of course, but the university itself, the classes themselves, they are for free in the public universities or public schools. I've seen, I don't know like how it works in all the countries all over the world, of course, but I've read that it's not that common to have completely free education. So I think this is a very big plus for Poland, that if you're a citizen of Poland, you can just educate yourself and do it completely for free. So I really appreciate that, because for years my parents didn't have to pay anything for my education. Now that I was in university, I also didn't have to pay anything. So that's a very big plus for Poland, and that's something I really appreciate. And now the last point out of the things that I like, even though there's many, but I chose 4 things that I like the most. I think every person would say it about their own country, is food, because I am obsessed with Polish food. I could eat Polish food all the time, non-stop, everywhere I would go. If you give me pierogi on the plate, I will be delighted. I will be the happiest person ever. I would say that the Polish food is I would say that the Polish food is another thing that I just love about this country. Now on to the less optimistic, I guess, part of the video. The things that I dislike about Poland. Now people can have different opinion on this. Obviously this is just what I think. Maybe the things that I like you don't like, the things that I don't like you like. This is completely up to each person's opinion. The thing that I really don't like about Poland is the weather. Actually today it was a very good day. We're almost mid-April, and today I think was like one of the warmest days in the entire year 2021. because it was sunny, it was warm, it was just pretty. But in general, like let's say, I think it was 2 weeks ago that we still had snow and it was already like March. So that's the thing I don't like. I'm just a person that loves warmth. So being in a country that's like rainy and cold and just not very nice when it comes to these topics, that's a big minus. I don't know, like during the summer sometimes it's nice, sometimes we do get very warm days up to like even 30 degrees, so that's a lot. But mainly I would say that in Poland it's just cold and rainy and it's not very nice. So yeah, that's one of the things that I don't like about Poland. It's the weather. Now the second point of the things that I don't like is, this will sound weird, but it's the people. I don't really like the Polish people. I mean, I don't want to seem rude, but some of the Polish people are not very nice. I'm not saying that you have to walk the street and smile to everyone, but I've observed throughout my 23 years of life that when you walk down the street in Poland, everyone just looks stressed and sad and like angry even. I don't know why Polish people look so angry. I even noticed that I look angry and I don't know why. Like I'm not angry, I'm not sad, it's just my face, I guess. It's just my Polish face. Obviously, I'm not talking about all the people because there's different people in the entire country because Poland is a huge country. But what I mean is in general, I feel like Polish people are very intolerant. It's just a thing. Like, I don't know, I cannot explain. I guess if you're not in Poland, you would have to come to Poland to meet the Polish people. This is just something I noticed overall, that there is just rude people here, and I guess it's a thing in every country, but I don't know, like I just notice it the most with Polish people. We just like to complain a lot. But that's something I also noticed about myself. I actually talked about it with my boyfriend today, that when you ask a Polish person how they are, we always say, oh, my life is going terrible. I had the worst day of my life today. And it's like every day. So yeah, that's another thing, like Polish people just complain a lot, but I'm also guilty of that. I complain a lot as well. So I don't know. I hope I'm not being rude to anyone specifically right now. And I hope you can also share my opinion on this, that I don't know, like Polish people are not just the nicest, but maybe it's just me having bad experiences. I have no idea. The third point of the things that I don't like, it's that in Poland, I don't know what it's like in other countries, maybe it's the same, but in Poland, from what I've noticed, the rent is very expensive. It depends, obviously, but I've seen people that struggle to even afford renting a room. It's been an ongoing joke in Poland that landlords are just renting anything at this point for a very high price. And even in smaller towns, I've noticed that if you want to rent like a nice flat, it's just usually very expensive. I will not give you exact prices because it differs from country to country, but I would say that if you take into consideration the minimum salary of Poland, I would say that renting a flat is very expensive here. It's just from my own experience. We used to rent a studio, and obviously it was a big city. It was like it was in Gdańsk, so it was a pretty big city, and we were renting a studio in a pretty popular part of the city. So obviously it was a bit more expensive, but it was very tiny, and we were spending so much money on it every month, and that just gave me the impression that everything is like, all rentals are very expensive. And also from what I've noticed in the town that I used to live in, I've heard people saying that the rent has gone extremely high, extremely expensive. But as I said, I don't know what it's like in other countries. This is just my experience in Poland, from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've experienced myself. And the last point of the list of things that I don't like is something that my boyfriend would definitely kill me for, because I don't like the Polish old architecture. Usually, I mean, currently, this is another thing that I love in Poland, that there's many new neighborhoods, many new buildings being built currently. So that's something I really appreciate, I really love. But the majority of Poland is covered with those old grey blocks of flats. with tiny little parking lots, and it's just something I really don't like. Maybe some people like it. My boyfriend loves it, for example. I don't know. I don't like it. Like, it's space efficient, I would say, because I don't know if you've ever seen like pictures of Poland, like those old blocks of flats. I'll try to add some pictures here. What I mean is those huge buildings and like thousands of flats inside of one building, just being all built up together. It doesn't look nice from the outside. It usually doesn't look nice on the inside. I understand that back in the day when it was built, it was like, what, 1960?
60, 70, and 80.
1960, 70, something like that. I understand that back then it made sense, but currently it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I guess this is something you cannot change. Like, it was built, and obviously rebuilding it or modernizing it is a very expensive process. But it's just something I don't like. I don't like having a nice walk in the park and then seeing like a huge block of flats. It's usually just those old neighborhoods that are not very nice. And especially the parking lots of those neighborhoods, they drive me crazy. Because back when those blocks were built, there was not as many cars on the roads, obviously. So the parking lots didn't have to be big. But now, for example, in the block that we live in, there's barely parking. So that gets very annoying. Like, you cannot even go shopping because when you come back, there's no space for you to park and you have to drive around to finally find a spot. So that's another thing that I don't like. But as I mentioned previously, this is just my opinion, and obviously people have different opinions. So if you have another opinion on these topics, please let me know, because I would love to hear that. If you have another point of view, or if you would like to share some of your opinions about your own country, if you're not from Poland, then I would also love to hear that. But as I said, I really hope I wasn't rude in this video. Was I being rude? I really hope I wasn't. I hope I didn't offend anyone. So if you would like to share your opinion on Poland or your own country with me, I would love to hear that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next one.